What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope that you're having a fabulous day. My name is Justin, and today I am bringing you my album review of King Crimson's Discipline, which was released in 1981. This would be their 8th studio album. Let me move the light a little bit more on me. It's a little bit dark in here. Of course, you guys are more than welcome to watch the playlist, which I'll link below, which has all of my first reactions to each of the songs in this album. But without further ado, let's go! This album feels like an interdimensional meditation ritual. Like, seriously, the polyrhythmic passages are paradise. It's a powerhouse, and they all feel knotted and braided alongside one another with intricacy. I mean, the rhythms in here are obsessive, are intricate, but really, really catchy and groovy. The movements of the album starkly shift from danceable prog and math rock into open-aired ambience, and throughout all of this, the band strikes gold with everything that they touch, and they find a perfect balance. This would also mark the debut of guitarist Adrian Belew, who's also performing vocals here, as well as Tony Levin on the bass and Chapman stick. And both of these would prove to be especially invaluable into the sound of King Crimson at this time on this album. But I'd be remiss if I didn't also mention the production, which has a very 80s sound in certain ways, but still lends itself to the character that is King Crimson's music. With manipulated melodies and mangled guitar, a primitive pulse of percussion and polyrhythms, we open up with Elephant Talk, which is a great opener to the album. Also has an absolute astounding amount of alliteration. What a fantastic introduction for not only the band, but also especially for Adrian Belew, whose voice lends itself to the humorous delivery throughout this song. We're also introduced to his guitar playing as he trumpets and emulates the sounds of, well, an elephant. Fripp's ever studious rhythms and Bruford's drumming also create a sizzling display to open up our journey. Moving into what is very easily my favorite track on the album, Frame by Frame, I love the balance between just downright funky rhythms and the slower paced jams. It's seriously addictive in the way it goes back and forth. Belew's vocals effortlessly soar over the music. Levin's complicated made easy work, which is what I'm going to call it, on the Chapman stick is really inspiring as well. It's just amazing how a band like King Crimson, who is extremely progressive and notable in their work, can come up with music like this that is beautifully complex and executed with breezing simplicity. Bruford's beat in here especially carries the movements throughout with taste and with excitement. I mean, it's just it's just a classic. Mate Kudasai softens the summer sun and the blazing heat of the past 2 tracks, like a mid-evening storm that's gently caressing the earth with rain. I love how the guitar emulates a waiting and weeping widow. It's so gut-wrenchingly effective in telling this sad story. The air of melancholy and the singing in particular remind me a lot of the Blue Nile, actually, which isn't a bad thing. And then the lyrics are especially hard-hitting here. She waits in the air, she sleeps in a chair. Actually made me think that our character and our subject had died waiting for her lover to come back. And now she waits in the air, in heaven, and she sleeps in the chair because she died waiting for him. With a suspicious bass line, frenzied drumming, and a heavy, almost industrial-like instrumentation, we move into the next track in Discipline. The earth-trembling eruptions that occur, which are triggered by Belew's blasé and matter-of-fact statements. The lyrics were apparently based on a letter written between Belew and his wife Margaret at the time about a painting she had painted, which is such an innocent background to the lyrics, with such a sinister sound behind them. Let me just say personally, by the way, that seeing this particular track performed live when I got to go see King Crimson made me really appreciate it, like the huge sound the band brought, and to see the interplay between the 3 drummers. That makes it worth it. Thela Hun Gajit. I don't know why this song is as catchy as it is. The bass is dangerously dancey. The sound samples throughout swerve the song into different directions, and it's just carried across so convincingly. Bruford plays with raw emphasis, and Fripp's mesmerizing rhythms make this one extremely trance-inducing. Speaking of the lyrics and the title of the song, it's actually kind of interesting and somewhat funny in the way they came about. So I would definitely say go and look that up. It just makes for kind of interesting reading. It's this song in particular that really makes me feel like I'm listening to Talking Heads, but on some sort of hallucinogenic acid trip or something. The Sheltering Sky is just atmospheric delight with percussion minimalized to just a slit drum. And at the same time, the air is just filled with a lot of vibrancy and color. It's in this piece, especially, that we're reminded that there's no keyboards, there's no key sounds. It's all guitar, bass, Chapman stick, drums. And how amazing the sounds they get out of these instruments because they feel otherworldly. But there's a little sprinkling of magic in there. And especially after the unrelenting pace of the past few songs, this one feels like a breath of fresh air and kind of relief. And even though it's the longest song in the album at a little bit over 8 minutes, I actually personally wish it went on just a little bit longer. I'm just very drawn into the space that they've created here and how beautiful it is. It really feels like a warm breeze on a cold day. And yet this is also the calm before the concluding storm in Discipline. And by in Discipline, I mean in the album, but also moving into the final and title track of the album. This last piece is really the perfect culmination of everything that the band has been doing in this album. The strings and melodies are intertwining as we've come to expect, as if in some sort of possessed posturing, and the ambience in the action is alluring and attractive like a moth to a glowing flame. It really feels like a proper epilogue to our journey. Those are just a couple of my thoughts on each of the tracks in the album, but let's move into my favorite moment, my favorite lyrics, and my song rankings. My favorite moment in the album is the verse in Frame by Frame. Listen, I just really love the way that the groove is slowed down off of that fast jungle-paced introduction and the way that Adrian Belew erupts singing-wise out of it. Listen, first of all, Frame by Frame is my favorite song. But every time that that part happens and Blue starts singing, I don't care where I am, I'm singing with them. My favorite lyrics are the ones that I mentioned in the album review, and that is from Mate Kudasai, which means please wait in Japanese, by the way. She waits in the air, Mate Kudasai. She sleeps in a chair in her sad America. I already kind of explained my reasons why I really love these lyrics, but I think in just such a short amount of writing, a lot is conveyed to us about the sadness of this woman, the grief we can see, and the mystery of whenever the lover returns and sees what happened. Finally, my song rankings for the album. Now, really quick, don't take these song rankings so seriously because I really and especially love every song in this album for one reason or another. So don't take this like best to worst song ever. It's just most favorite to least favorite. You know? Yeah. Frame by Frame, Elephant Talk, Mate Kudasai, The Sheltering Sky, Discipline, Thela Hungajits, and In Discipline. This is a fantastic album, marking a change from King Crimson's past, and I think that it just shows how innovative the band were. And in all respects, really encapsulating the spirit of progressive music. It's just a cool album. Let me know your favorite lyrics, your song rankings, your favorite moments on the album as well. I'd love to hear that or read that in the comments below. You can also follow me on Twitter. You can support the channel on Patreon. You can do so many things. But most of all, I hope that you had a great day. I hope that you enjoyed your past few minutes here on the video. And I hope to see you soon and possibly talk to you tomorrow. But thanks for being here. Bye.